Hello? Hello, little sprouts! I'm so excited! Wow, everything really just lined up. We're almost at 2K subs, and 3 Days of Happiness has come out. I I did the script or the lines for 3 Days of Happiness almost 2 years ago now. I can't believe I'm just really excited to see the results. Yeah, I don't know if I should talk a lot during the movie or if I should just try to keep my reactions to myself. I'm also like a little scared about like cringing at myself. Like, I love everybody else, but you know, like when you hear your own voice, it's always like but it's okay. We're just here to enjoy all of Solus's hard work coming together. I'm so proud of him. He works so hard on all of the music, the editing, like hiring all these actors and having everything come together is just so incredible and special. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. Yeah, so we got our boba, we got our blanket. We're cozy, we're excited. Maybe we should just hop into it. Ah! I'm so excited. Okay, let me switch it over. See, I even made a dark background, so it's like we're at the movies. Let me see. Hopefully this works. I really put this together hastily because I was like, oh, I can't wait. I wanted to like watch it for the first time with everybody, but also I was afraid of talking too much during the movie. I don't know what to expect. I don't even remember the story too much anymore. But it's okay. I have complete faith that I have complete faith in everyone. If not myself, then I feel like everyone will bring it through. Okay, so how was your day? Okay, no, I'll just start it. Let me know if the sound is not good.
In the summer 10 years from now, we'll finally feel like we're glad to have lived, deep in our hearts. And we'll show up those dunces.
10 years. We'll be 20 by then. Able to drink, to smoke, and to marry. Well, that comes earlier. But I don't feel like I'll be able to do it.
Why?
There's too much stuff I don't like.
Me too. Well, in that case, when we turn 20 and get famous, if by then, shameful as it is, we haven't found anyone we want to marry, if that happens, would you wanna be with me? As fellow people left on the shelf?
By 20, that's not left on the shelf. I hope.
What's that about? Really now?
It's a joke. Just forget it, okay? I just wanted to hear myself say it. As if I would ever go unsold.
I'm really sorry. A part-time job in blazing heat. After deeply bowing my head with the 19th I'm really sorry of the day, it seems had a dizzy spell and fell unconscious.
Hi, Pyro. We just started. You're like 2 minutes late.
Parting with my CDs and books made my heart ache. They were all second-hand, purchases I'd made with careful consideration. But my room lacked even a computer or a TV. by now. They seemed the only things left that could get me any money.
You did so good with the sound design. I don't even know how long this is.
Hello? I'm here to sell some books.
Are you moving or something?
No, nothing like that.
Well then, why do something so wasteful?
Paper doesn't make for a good meal. Not much nutritional value.
Short on cash. That'll take about 30 minutes to evaluate.
That's it?
Hey, I've got something to tell you about.
What is it?
You're hurting for money, right?
It's not like it's anything recent.
Well, I don't care to know how poor you are, or why things got that way. That's not my interest. I just want to ask you one thing. You want to sell some of your lifespan?
Lifespan?
Yeah, lifespan. Oh, but it's not like I'm the one buying it. I know it sells for a lot, though. Couldn't blame you for thinking I'm joking, or thinking this old coot's gone senile. But if you want to entertain my nonsense, go take a look. I'll tell you where. You'll see I'm not lying.
In short, this is what he told me. On the 4th floor of a nearby building, there's a shop that buys lifespan. It differs from person to person. How rich would the life you would have lived been? By that metric, the value can fluctuate a lot.
I don't really know you much at all, but you don't look like a bad guy. And you've got decent taste in books. Must have some values, right? Besides lifespan,
Good
apparently
taste
they'll
in
buy
books.
time and health, too.
What's the difference between lifespan and time?
Couldn't tell you any details. It's not like I've ever sold any of it. Here,
A shop dealing in lifespan.
I wouldn't trust that for a
It
second.
could only be the fantasy of an old man nearing his death. Because, I mean, wouldn't that just be too good to be true?
I mean, we're already selling our lifespan. Am I right, ladies?
Welcome.
These.
What kind of
That's
turn of
crazy.
events is this?
Hi, Strepto.
I don't know who you are, but why let go of so many CDs?
Oh, no.
He seemed ditching to say. Basically the same reaction as the old bookstore
The
clerk.
troublesome duo
Just like
is here.
before. I explained why I had no choice but to sell them.
In that case, I've got something good for you. See,
Don't say
truth
sell
is,
your
bud,
lifespan.
I'm pretty into your taste in music, so maybe I shouldn't really be telling you. But just between us, aight?
Don't say
Here
sell
in
your life.
town, there's a shop where they'll buy your lifespan.
Oh,
It was more or less just what the old man said. But it seemed this man had in fact sold some lifespan. Was it in vogue to make fun of poor people? So,
yeah.
how much did it go for?
Can't really tell you that. Here you go.
Needless to say, his directions perfectly matched the old man's. Might
This
as
is a bad
well
idea.
today. It's cold. In the end, I found myself standing in front of that building.
No. Oh my god.
It's not like I
me,
believe
winded
their
getting up the
story.
stairs.
I thought of it like this. Circumstances kept them from saying it directly, but there was some lucrative job offered there. That was at the risk of shortening your lifespan, and that's what they really wanted to share with me.
Empty.
Huh?
Welcome.
No.
Your time, your health, or your lifespan.
Oh my god.
Lifespan.
Time, health, or lifespan?
Your evaluation will take about...
Oh my god, I'm so... Oh my god, okay, sorry. I promised I wouldn't cringe at myself. Let me just... We'll keep going. But you shouldn't sell your lifespan or your health. Or... I guess we already sell our time. Oh my god.
3 hours.
When they first mentioned selling lifespan, what immediately came to mind was a morality lesson from elementary school.
You've all been told that it's something that can't be replaced and that it's more valuable than anything. But if a human life were given a monetary value, how much do you think it would be worth?
I know. A salaryman, over the course of their life, earns about 100 million to 300 million yen. That's what I read in a book once.
The class's biggest smart aleck answered.
Even if you asked an adult,
smart
well, you might get the same answer. But for right now, I want you to get away from that line of thinking. So, say someone said this to you.
Hey, that life you're gonna lead, would you let me have it all for myself?
And what would happen if I did sell it?
You'd die, surely. So of course, you'd want to refuse this offer. But it would keep hanging on. Well, just half is fine. Want to just sell me 30 years off of the 60 you have left?
I get it. If it went down like that, I really might feel like selling.
No, wait.
Now here's the question. It would have to assign a per year value to your lifespan. Yes? I'll tell you in advance.
Okay, bye,
There's no
Lucas.
right answer.
Thank you for coming.
But I want to know how you came to your answer.
Well, if a whole life is about 300 million yen,
If they're 300 million, I could at least be 3 billion.
You can't assign a value to a person's life.
Yeah,
Said
she's
one
right.
girl with gloomy prospects.
Oh.
If we're talking the chance to live her life, yeah, I wouldn't give that a value.
Heck, I'd probably ask for a disposal fee.
but if I were selling my life, you guys wouldn't
Daryl,
even pay
that's
300 yen, would you?
The wisecracking clown you get in every class thought similarly to me, and had a self-deprecating laugh about it. As it happens, the teacher said that there was no right answer. But a right answer of sorts did exist. 10 years later, when I was 20, I did in fact sell my lifespan and learn its value.
How much could a banana be? $10?
I hope it sells for a lot. While waiting for the evaluation, I tried to make a lowball estimate of how much my life was going to be. I was thinking, at minimum, maybe 300 million, compared to my 3 billion from when I was a kid. It was a rather modest estimate.
I'd probably ask for a disposal
However,
fee.
I'd forgotten that thought I had.
Mr. Kusunoki, your evaluation has been completed.
Mr. Kusunoki. I didn't recall ever giving them my name, or any form of identification. And yet, they knew it, some way or another. I guess that follows, since the business here goes beyond common sense.
3.
Huh? 3 billion? My childhood estimate was right.
These are your results. What would you like to do?
300,000 per year. If I lived for 80 more years, that would be 24 million in all.
The disposal
24
fee.
million. 24 million. Yeah. Surely that's too cheap by any means. I guess I'll just have to take 24 million.
Concerning your per year value, you were given the bare minimum of 10,000 yen, and as you have 30 years and 3 months remaining, you will be able to leave here with up to 300,000 yen.
There, on the form were my results, many orders of magnitude below my expectations.
He really
I
thought.
want to know more about your standards.
The detailed evaluations are carried out by a separate consulting body, so I don't know the specifics myself. Happiness, actualization, contribution, the degree to which such factors are present can greatly affect the value, or so I hear. In short, the value of your remaining years is how happy a life it is, how it makes others happy, how many dreams are achieved, how much it contributes to society, and
It's
so
not
on and
looking
so
too good
forth.
for him.
These things decide the value.
If I won't be
Literally
happy,
stabbing
won't
him in
make
the heart.
anyone happy, won't achieve any dreams, won't contribute to society, where can I look to for salvation? Ultimately, I sold off all 30 years, keeping only 3 months.
That's so sad.
When I was a kid, I thought I'd grow up to be famous. I looked down on the children around me. I didn't have the skill
That's
nor
true.
humility to hide that fact. So naturally, my classmates were unsympathetic. I always got perfect scores on tests, but I wasn't the only one who could do that. Yes, so could that smart aleck, Himeno. Because of the other, neither of us could be number one, so at least on the surface, we quarreled. On the other hand, we were the only ones who could talk to each other on our same level. And in fact, our houses were very close,
They're holding
and our
hands.
parents were friends, so we'd played together since infancy. I suppose the term childhood friends would apply. And
Well, in that case,
that brought us to this.
when we turn 20 and get famous, if by then, shameful as it is, we haven't found anyone we want to marry, if that happens.
Damn it. Drank too much.
Animated panels.
And you would be? You evaluated my lifespan yesterday.
That's correct. I'll serve as your observer from today forth. My name is Miyagi. While I also explained it yesterday, since your lifespan is now less than a year, I will be observing you starting today. Therefore,
Uh-oh.
Can this wait until later? And so, the last 3 months of my life began.
understood.
In pretty much the worst possible way.
Later then.
Uh-oh. Me? Ad blocker? I would never. Oh no, how do I get rid of this? Fine. Oh no, that's number 7. What are we on? 3? I don't know how to turn it off. Wait. No, I would never. Never. Remove? Or, oh, off. Okay, now let's try. But now we have to watch ads.
$16,000 for camera gear? I'm never gonna be able to afford all this gear. Hey,
He should sell his life. Oh my god, this is so like, it feels like an out-of-body experience. Like, I know I've said these words, but I don't remember any of it. But it's so good so far! Okay. You guys didn't see nothing.
What Himeno and I were waiting for
Yes, that something will definitely happen in summer.
was something that validated our existence.
10 years from now, something really good will happen to us, and we'll finally be able to feel like we're glad to have lived.
Something that made up for everything.
In 10 years, we'll have to get really rich and really famous.
Hi, Shazoo.
So famous, our
Shazoo,
classmates will have
Shazoo.
heart attacks
Hi.
from jealousy.
Lip
And
balloon.
if they don't, it won't be worth it.
About Miss Himeno. Circumstances led her to give birth to a child at 17. She then dropped out of high school and married at 18, but divorced 2 years later, now at 20.
Oh crap! This is chapter 7! I was like, whoa, what the heck is happening? Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm really messing this up. Okay.
I sold off all but 3 months of my life. Then, the next day, a girl came to my room.
Oh.
Many people who sell their lifespans here, once they're down to a year left, suddenly become desperate and start to cause trouble. To protect against such situations, we have established what is called the Observer System.
And what if I were to cause some trouble?
The Observer would immediately contact HQ and have your life terminated on the spot.
Which meant this observer was one phone call away from ending my life.
It's perfectly fine if you just pretend I'm not here. Simply conduct yourself as you usually would.
As if I can do that.
I explained this yesterday as well, but for your last 3
What do you
days,
think,
I will cease my
My voice always
observation.
sounds like that.
Please endure until then.
When people only have a few days left, maybe due to resignation, they apparently lose the will to trouble others. So for just those last 3 days, they can be alone. Yeesh. Guess I fell asleep. Gah. I'd call this a pretty awful way to spend the first day of these precious 3 months. Don't mind her, don't mind her. With her watching me, how did she intend to have meals? I didn't really think she had no need to eat or drink, but she felt so inhuman that I would have believed it.
That's me.
Things to do before I die. See some beautiful things, write a will, meet and talk with Naruse, tell Himeno how I feel.
I would suggest against that one.
Tell me, do you observers have some duty to probe and meddle, even into this kind of thing?
Miss Himeno scarcely remembers you at all. And of course, that includes the promise you made at age 10.
You even know about that? Given the way you're talking, do you know everything that's going to happen?
No. Mr. Kusunoki, all I know are the possibilities of what may have happened in your future life. Of course, it's all meaningless information at this point, as your future changed drastically when you sold your lifespan. Miss Himeno seemed to be a very significant person in your life. Your life summary was filled to the brim with her.
So everything else was too unimportant? Is that what that means?
That may be. At any rate, if you want my opinion, meeting Miss Himeno would be a waste of time. It would only spoil your memory of her.
Thanks for the concern, but it was spoiled a long time ago. Look, maybe you're telling me this because you're trying to protect me from getting hurt, but couldn't you say that taking such an action is taking away my freedom to get hurt and despair? Yeah, like, what if I didn't want to hear it from you, but directly from Himeno's mouth? That was pretty meddling of you.
Is that so? Well, I had only good intentions. I must apologize. So, in deference to your, freedom to get hurt and despair, I will refrain from meddling in any of the other items on your list. Do as you please, so long as it does not trouble others. Simply pursue what you want. I will not stop you.
That's what I was gonna do anyway. I didn't overlook the fact that Miyagi seemed to have a somewhat somber look then. However, I didn't give any deep thought into what that expression meant.
You should.
Here, my buffoonery really picked up the pace. Just making a call. I'll be right back. But she still follows, of course. Knowing with certainty how much time I had left, I suddenly yearned for human interaction. I just wanted to talk to somebody. I met Wakana in April. Move it, lady. I want to check that shelf.
I do that all the time.
Excuse me. Have we met before?
No, never seen you until now.
Oh, sorry to bother you. You looked like someone. So, essentially, we met in this old bookstore?
I think you're right about that.
I think I'm right about that, too. That's great.
A few days
She's a
later,
cutie.
we met again at college. After that, we had a few lunches together, having long conversations about books and music.
I've never met someone in my generation who's read more than me before.
I read, sure, but that's where it ends. Besides, reading is what people without anything else to do.
Do you not have anything to do, Kuzunoki?
Other than part-time jobs. Not really.
Well, we'll have to give you something to do.
She was the only girl in college to show any affection for me. However, I valued my promise with Himeno. So to keep Wakana from getting hopeful,
There.
I treated her with a blunt attitude.
Ugh. Boys.
It seemed she wasn't able to answer right now. There was a part of me that was relieved by that. I chose my words carefully and sent it.
Now then, let's compare answers. The woman you just tried to call was, in your eyes, your last ray of hope. Miss Wakana was the last person who you thought may have loved you.
So mean.
I didn't feel like going back inside, so I stayed where I was and lit a cigarette. Once I was done, I headed to a local supermarket. Man, I have 300k in yen, but I don't know what's worth spending it on. So, she eats. Still, we must look like lovers who live together out on a shopping trip. It was a truly ridiculous but happy hallucination. If I even have to say it, the very existence of this Miyagi girl was disagreeable to me, but I enjoyed this late-night supermarket shopping with a young girl. Even if her goal was to observe me, for a long time, living with a girl, and us going shopping for food and beer while still in our loungewear, had been a secret desire of mine. An empty happiness. But I couldn't help that. I really felt that way.
I'm liking it so far. Is it really necessary to, right after he gets so disappointed in life, that you like go up to him and you're like, let's compare answers? And like, you're so mean to him. Oh my god. Okay, I'm stressed. This is fun. This is good. I really, really like it. It's really come together so nicely.
Hey, wanna drink with me?
No, thank you. I'm on duty.
You know, I've been wondering, what are you writing there?
A record of actions. Yours.
Well, allow me to inform you that I'm drunk right now.
Yes, I can see that.
Not only that, but I'm really wanting to drink with you.
Yes, I know. This I have heard.
Let me tell you, with these last 3 months, with my 300,000 yen, I'm gonna change something. With my coming death driving me, I'm gonna get back at this world.
Get him.
That is what everyone says. Despite having been a hopeless person before, now that you've noticed your mistakes, you think you can do anything. That is a critical misjudgment. Mr. Kusunoki, think of it this way. The reason your lifespan sold for only 300,000 yen was because in those 30 years, you accomplished not one single thing. What can a man who would accomplish nothing in 30 years change in a mere 3 months?
Won't know till we try.
3 months is simply too short a time to change anything. That said, it's also too long to do nothing. So then don't you agree it's more shrewd to accumulate a number of small yet definite joys? You lose because you consider only victory.
Holy moly.
All right. Fine. What you're saying is right. I guess even now, I still can't fully understand just how useless I really am. So, hey, could you tell me? All the things that would have happened, just how did I spend those lost 30 years? Maybe if I heard that, I could stop having any unreasonable hopes.
I don't think that's a good idea.
I suppose. At this juncture, perhaps it is best that you know all of it. However, just as a reminder, you need not despair at anything I say. The things I know were once possibilities, but now they are things that can never actually happen.
I know that. And honestly, there's really no reason I should ever be despairing. It had only come to that if there were nothing else to come to.
I hope it won't come at all. First of all, your time in college passes in the blink of an eye. You merely pay bills, read books, listen to music, and sleep. You graduate having learned nothing in particular, and ironically, you end up in the line of work you scorned most. You travel between home and work, eyes ever vacant, working your body into dust, and drink comes to be the only thing you look forward to. Before you know it, you're approaching your late 30s. In lonesomeness, your only hobby is to ride a motorcycle around aimlessly. But, as you yourself know, it is a dangerous hobby. The one small mercy is that no one else is injured. You are the only one in the collision. In that accident, you lose half your face, the ability to walk, and the majority of your fingers. You begin to consider going to your last resort. But even so, maybe something good will still happen. Unable to let go of that sliver of hope, you cannot take the final plunge. This false hope carries you to 50 until you ultimately die alone, in shambles and with nothing. Loved by no one, remembered by no one, to your last, grieving that it should not have been this way.
Holy moly.
So, your thoughts?
Right. Well, first of all, I'd say I'm really glad I sold off all 30 years. Huh? Fireworks. Seems that's piquing her interest a little. Hey now, should you just be staring out there, Miss Observer? What if I were to suddenly take off? What then?
Do you want me to watch you?
Nah, I want you to be gone as soon as possible. Having you over my shoulder makes it hard to do anything. Heck, I think it might have been better if I had sold off all but 3 days instead.
Well, there is still time for that. You are allowed 2 more lifespan transactions. If you truly can't stomach my presence, then that is certainly an option.
I'll keep it in mind. Honestly, that seemed the more elegant way to do things. But even at this point, I was trapped by that devil's proof, hoping for something good. The 3 months to come were distinct from those lost 30 years Miyagi told me about. The future wasn't set in stone. Thinking of it that way, I couldn't go dying just yet. Smells sweet. Is this the smell of women's shampoo? Which means that while I was asleep, Miyagi used the shower. Who cares? I need to sleep for tomorrow. But it wasn't easy to get back to sleep. So as I would typically do, I borrowed the power of music. I put on one of my unsold CDs. Please, Mr. Lost Man. This is just what I think, but a person who listens to this on sleepless nights will never live a decent life. Using music like this, I, unfit for the world, excused myself from trying to get used to it. Maybe I was still paying the price for that now.
what does
How
that
do you
say?
plan to spend today?
I'd thought this since I first met her, but Miyagi didn't look half bad. Well,
cutie.
let me come out and say it. Strictly in terms of appearance, she was exactly my type. If my observer had been the opposite of her, an ugly, dirty, middle-aged man, I'm sure I'd be able to relax more and think about what I want. But having Miyagi lingering around, drawing attention to my warped desires and miserable hopes, only caused me undue embarrassment.
This is just my personal opinion, but about the items on that list, are those really things you want to do deep in your heart?
Well, that's what I was thinking about too.
If I
Don't go to school. Don't do any work. Eat good things. Eat tasty things. See beautiful things. Write a will. Talk with Naruse. Tell Himeno how I feel. They're so vague. Man, you need a plan. You only have 3 months.
I might say, it feels as if you've made a list of things you feel someone else might want to do before they died.
Maybe. The truth might be that there really isn't a single thing I want to do before I die. What's worth repairing at this point? I'm sure there's nothing to lose.
You should probably take a good look. This may be the last rainbow you ever see.
Well, yeah. Anything might be for the last time. Between now and when I died, how many more CDs would I listen to? How many books read? How many more cigarettes would I smoke?
Welcome.
Long time no see. You been doing good?
Yeah, pretty good.
Wix is your platform to...
It's good. It's good. I don't know about Naruse though. I have a bad feeling.
This guy who's coming, Naruse, he's a friend from high school. He was popular. I was an outcast. Totally opposite standings, but we were similar in an odd way. When we were together, weirdly, we could laugh off any and all bad things. So I was thinking I'd like to have a carefree chat with him again.
I see.
To tell the truth, I had another objective. I hoped that the relationship between me and Miyagi, her watching me with an observing eye, would be misinterpreted by Naruse. It was a pathetic hope, but just once, before I died, I wanted to taste the feeling of being a pretty girl's boyfriend. Hey, Miss Observer, I've got a request.
Excuse me, are you ready to order?
Sure. Coffee for me.
I'll get right on it.
You okay not ordering anything?
You should refrain from talking to me when in public.
What? Is that a problem?
I believe I did explain this to you at the start, but, well, you see, the presence of us observers cannot be sensed by anyone except for those we observe.
Oh my god,
Like so.
another L.
Any sensation I give to a person is treated as if it didn't happen. The point being, Mr. Kusunoki, that you currently appear as if you are talking to air.
So, your request was...
Forget it. Maybe I won't meet with Naruse after all.
Welcome.
Hey, Kusunoki. Long time no see. You been doing good?
Yeah, pretty good.
Come on, man. We should keep in touch more. Oh, hot coffee for me.
By the time we'd told each other how things were going, we started speaking candidly with one another, as if back in high school. As we laughed about pointless stuff, I was able to forget about my enroaching death. Until that came out of his mouth. I'd say I was having fun.
By the way, Kusunoki, do you still draw at all?
Nah, I haven't done any drawing ever since I got to college.
Thought so. If you were still drawing, I don't know what I would have done.
That put an end to it. Hey, Naruse, That's the one thing you can't laugh at. True, I gave up on it, but even so, that absolutely doesn't mean it's something that's okay to laugh at. And I thought you, at least, would have understood that.
Now then, let's compare answers.
Be quiet.
It would seem you've just come to hate Mr. Naruse a bit. But in truth, Mr. Naruse too is not as fond of you as you may believe. Originally, you would have met Mr. Naruse 2 years from now, in a way similar to today, and a minor thing would lead to a dispute ending with the two of you angrily parting. You should cut it off soon before it reaches that point.
Shut up.
Nothing good will come from placing your hopes in this man.
You. All of you.
Shut up!
I didn't feel any regret for leaving Naruse like that. Perhaps I didn't really care for Naruse the person, but via his approval of my thoughts, I hoped I could love myself. And while Naruse had changed, I never did. Maybe it was Naruse who was in the right. Hey, Miss Observer. I'm sorry about what I did back there. You're not hurt?
I am not. Unfortunately.
Hey, I really am sorry.
It's fine, because it didn't hit.
When you're done with that observation log or whatever, you want a drink?
Are you saying that you want to drink with me?
Well, yeah. I'm lonely.
I see. Well, apologies, but I can't. I'm on the job.
You should have just said that first then.
Sorry. I just found it a bit odd. I was unsure why you would say something like that. I mean...
I get lonely sometimes. Like anybody else.
I see.
Looks like I need to revise my view of things. As close as I was to death, the world wouldn't suddenly get nicer. That should have been clear, but it seemed I was still hoping, deep down. I decided to write a will.
Do you have any items to give away? And anyone
What
to
did
give
I
it
want
to?
to impart, and to who? When I closed my eyes to think about it, I immediately thought of my childhood friend, Himeno. So I tried, taking about an hour to write a letter to her. To summarize what I ended up with.
Oh, sorry, I want to read it. I don't know what you think of me by now, but I've kept loving you since the day 10 years ago. I survived until 20 because of you, of my memories from when I was with you, and I won't survive beyond 20 because I can't stand a world with... This is so much to send to somebody you haven't spoken to. Now that I'm about to die, I've finally realized that, in a way, I've already been dead for a long time. Ever since the day we went our separate ways. Goodbye. I'm praying 10-year-old me survives inside you for a little longer. I wouldn't... Is she... That's such a... I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say.
Nope.
Correct. Thank you.
When was the last time I wrote a letter?
I want you to write a letter to yourself 10 years from now. Did your dream come true? Or are you happy? Or please don't forget about this? Might be good things to write. Also, at the end of the letter, please write the name of the person who's your best friend now.
How do you plan to spend today?
Time capsule raiding.
Surely, you won't just sneak into a school and dig holes in the middle of the day.
Naturally, I'll wait for night. Except, this was spur of the moment. and I'm not sure how to pass the time.
Perhaps you might tour some places from your past.
Places from my past, huh? I don't have much of a good past in this town.
With the exception of Miss Himeno, I assume.
Don't bring up her name so lightly. I especially don't want to hear it out of your mouth.
Is that so? I'll be more cautious henceforth.
Gonna be another scorcher. Aren't you invisible to everyone but me?
Essentially, yes.
Always.
Yes. I'm only seen by those I observe, although there are exceptions. Is something the matter?
Nope, nothing. It's just, if nobody can see you, I wondered why you'd fuss over your appearance.
I do it for myself. Even if you had no plans to meet anyone, you would still shower, wouldn't you?
It seemed Miyagi really took offense at that remark. If it were any other girl, I'd have rushed to apologize. But since it was Miyagi, I was glad I could get back at her.
Apologize. Right now!
What is this?
A so-called secret base.
Why didn't he get with Himeno when he had the chance?
It's not here.
Oh my god.
Maybe it was dug up already. Huh.
Feels like grave robbing.
There we go. It was the time capsule buried 10 years ago.
Here's how AI can double your productivity.
Who
Most
said he
people
had
work at
the
least 8
chance?
hours a day, but how much of that time are they
He could have had a chance. They were like talking about getting married and they were childhood friends. Oh man. And the time capsule is just gonna be like, I don't know. I don't know what this man's doing.
Are you sure you should be reading other people's letters?
I'm gonna die in a few months. I should be allowed that much. Well, I'd expected as much. By the time I'd read all the letters in the capsule, the only isolated name was mine.
Oh my god.
And Miss Himeno's letter is nowhere to be found.
If only Himeno's letter were there. If hers were there, surely she'd have written my name.
I should hope you understand now. You ought not to cling on to your past relationships, as you have just neglected all of them. Did you ever send Miss Himeno a single letter? After high school, did you once contact Mr. Naruse? Why did Miss Wakana abandon you? Did you show up to any class reunions? Pardon the remark, but don't you feel that clinging on to the past now is asking for too much?
Well then, what do I even cling to? When both the past and future are shut off from me. No way. The last train was... Sorry. We're spending the night here. Find some way to kill time.
Stranded them, huh? Invalidation from a 10-year-old letter?
Probably. I was just confused. That moment, I had the sudden impulse to do something terrible to Miyagi.
Oh.
I've got a question for you.
Yes?
Once an observer finds their subject doing an inappropriate act, how much of a lag is there before their lifespan's terminated?
And why would you be asking?
Basically, if I were to get violent with you right here, I want to know how long it'd take before I would be killed.
Contact can be made instantly. After that, it wouldn't take 20 minutes. An escape would be completely impossible.
So I'd have about some 10-some minutes to act freely.
Nobody said anything like that.
Was I really going to push Miyagi down, pin her on the floor, and use her to fulfill my desires? If I did, maybe I would injure her. Maybe I'd be adding another wound, like the big one on her knee. Maybe I would take even more light from her nearly pitch-black eyes. Maybe once it was all over, she'd just make a sarcastic remark as if totally unfazed.
Were you satisfied?
Must be a nasty job, having to deal with garbage like me all the time.
Your understanding is appreciated.
Dangerous job. There's no shortage of guys like me, I bet. Guys who go nuts when they're about to die and take their anger out on their observer.
As a matter of fact, you are more of an easy case. There have been many who go to much further extremes.
Why would you take such a job?
To put it simply, because I had to. That's all.
Tell me the not simple version.
I would have thought you had no interest in anyone but Miss Himeno.
That's not true at all. If I didn't see any charm in you, I wouldn't have considered what I did earlier.
Ugh. Is that right? Thanks, I suppose.
You don't have to talk, if you don't want to.
No, well, I have nothing particularly to hide in my past. I already told you that one can sell not just lifespan, but also health and time, yes? In short, I sold my time. Roughly 30 years of it.
Miyagi backstory. I did not like that train scene with what he was thinking about.
Most of the observers are people who come to the shop like you and choose to sell their time, though by doing so, they effectively sold their safety and relationships as well.
If you sold 30 years, that means you'll be free in your 40s?
Indeed I will. Of course, that's only assuming I survive to see it.
Why would you need money that bad?
What if I told you it's not very interesting? Oh well, there's still time until the train comes, I suppose. When my mother became an observer and vanished from my sight, I recall I was only 6 years old. To this day, I do not quite understand her reason for selling decades of time to buy more lifespan. It seemed she was always dissatisfied with the reality she lived in. I hated that miserable mother of mine, and she hated me in turn.
I wish this sorry excuse had never been born.
She frequently reminded me. A few years into being an observer, when I was age 10, she died. I'm unsure of her exact cause of death, but it's clear she was killed by an observation subject. As much as you may extend your lifespan, injury and illness are another matter entirely. When I first heard that, I wondered if that wasn't considered fraud. The man who informed me of her death told me something else of importance.
You have a debt.
The enormous debt my mother left.
There are only 3 ways for you to pay it back now. Sell your lifespan, sell your time, or sell your health. Those are your options.
So then, you picked time.
Indeed, and that brings me to today, living as an observer. It's a lonely line of work with many dangers, but for what it's worth, it has given me deep insight into people's lifestyles and the value of life. Thinking of it in those terms, it's not such a bad job.
I don't get it. I think I just sell off a life like that. Even if you do make it to the end, the best times of your life will be over, facing all this pain and then starting your life at 40. I would just call that a tragedy. So it'd be better to sell it.
If my lifespan were actually worth anything, certainly I would do so.
What's it worth?
The same as yours. 10,000 yen per year. If I've been overly harsh with you, I believe it's because of how you overlap with myself, so I apologize for taking it out on you.
Well, I don't want to be rude, but isn't that even more reason to just die already? It means there's nothing to look forward to.
Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. And yet, I suppose I can't do so. In essence, because I take after my mother, who bought lifespan and clung to hope. I'm an irreconcilable fool. There's no point in living, yet I'm compelled to survive. But, you see, it's not that simple. Perhaps something good will happen someday, don't you think?
I know a guy who died saying that to himself and getting nothing out of it.
Yes, so do I.
Seeing Miyagi relaxing for the first time, I told myself, I'll at least have her remember me as the easiest subject to be around.
That was so nice. Hey, smoking kills. It doesn't matter, they're gonna die. What do you mean?
Hey, you know, right? About what Himeno's like now. Could you tell me?
It will be harsh.
Yeah. I still want to know.
Understood. Then I will tell you about Miss Himeno's life. Over the 10 years you've been apart.
Oops, this is where we skipped forward to.
These are all the ingredients
I got
Rose
very
considers
giddy
when
in
building
this
your
part.
custom hair care formula.
They're kind of cute.
There are a lot,
but also very sad. And the music's
What
great.
Himeno and I were waiting for
Yes, that something will definitely happen in summer.
was something that validated our existence.
10 years from now, something really good will happen to us, and we'll finally be able to feel like we're glad to have lived.
Something that made up for everything.
In 10 years, we'll have to get really rich and really famous. So famous, our classmates will have heart attacks from jealousy. And if they don't, it won't be worth it.
That's pretty high expectation.
About Miss Himeno. Circumstances led her to give birth to a child at 17. She then dropped out of high school and married at 18, but divorced 2 years later, now at 20. She's raising the child by herself. And in 2 years' time, she will be jumping to her death. Are you making 1,000 paper cranes? You intend to do this all by yourself. To what end?
To wish myself a happy life as I head toward death. I enjoyed the pointless work. I filled the drab apartment with paper cranes of many colors. 881, 882, 883. As I went through recounting the cranes, I found many that were too good to believe I made them. These ones must have been folded by a certain nosy individual while I slept. That went way too quickly. The night I finished folding cranes, when checking the pockets of my jeans, I found the letter I'd taken from the time capsule. It went like this. To me, 10 years from now, you're the only one I can count on to do this.
If I'm still on the shelf in 10 years, I want you to meet Himeno. Because Himeno's hopeless without me, and I'm hopeless without Himeno.
10 years ago, you were surprisingly honest and kind. So then, what do you intend to do?
Go meet Himeno. This is a request from myself 10 years ago. It's been 10 years now. I want to honor it. Sure, it might just bring me even more pain, but Until I see it with my own eyes, I can't give up. Just one last time, I want to talk with her. And as thanks for giving me life, I want to give her the 300,000 yen I got from selling it.
I won't stop you. I can't say I don't understand the feeling myself.
Maybe even tomorrow, I'm thinking of going to Himeno's house. You know if she's at her parents' place?
Indeed. It seems she's been depending on them ever since her husband left.
Don't bring up her name so lightly. I especially don't want to hear it out of your mouth.
Is that so? I'll be more cautious henceforth.
Thanks.
Don't mention it. I must apologize, but I can't let you go too far on your own. An observer and their target must not be separated by any more than 100 meters.
Or else what?
Your lifespan will be terminated. However, this bike does seat two, does it not?
I guess it can.
Then we will be able to use it, so long as you aren't vehemently opposed to me riding.
No way. It won't bother me.
Wow.
Pardon me.
First, I'll go to the college campus to get a map. Do you know Miss Himeno's address?
Yeah.
Just once, I did get a letter from Himeno. She wrote about how busy she was with studies and other frivolous things. No hint of sarcasm or an insulting word. I couldn't help but think that it didn't sound like Himeno at all. But in the end, I answered with a similarly banal letter. Never got a reply. By that time, Himeno was already carrying the child of someone I didn't even know. I can't say it was a very good memory, but Himeno's letter did tell me where she was. Now, I could be glad for that. Hey, this isn't really a meaningful question, but if you were in my situation, how would you spend your last months?
I don't think I'd know until I was in that position. I know I told you before, but you shouldn't talk to me in places like this. They'll think you're a strange person who talks to himself.
Let him. I am a strange guy. In fact, I actively wanted to be weird. Better to be remembered as a weirdo than not remembered at all.
Okay.
I've been thinking about that question you asked. If I myself had only a few months left to live, there are 3 things I would absolutely want to do. The first, to go to a certain lake. The second, to make a grave for myself. And the third, much like what you're doing, to go see a person who was important to me. That's about all.
Not really sure I get it. How about a little more info?
The lake is just a lake, but I do recall from my childhood the view of the stars there being quite beautiful. There are no doubt more beautiful sights in the world. But as far as those I know, that starry lake is the most.
I see. So the grave, you mean you want to buy a good piece of land?
No. Strictly speaking, if I just found a nice large rock and decided, this is my grave, even that would be fine.
Aww.
What's important is that whatever I decide to be my grave remains for at least a couple decades.
And about the person who was important to me?
Well, I'd rather not tell you, Mr. Kusunoki.
Huh. I suppose it's a guy?
You would suppose right. I think, as much as it might hurt me, as much as I might be disappointed, I too would still go to meet them, in the end. And so, I suppose that means I have no right to deny what you're doing, Mr. Kusunoki.
Talk about out of character. A lot more timid when it's about you, huh?
Well, I don't know anything about my own future.
She's so cute. Oh my god, I'm scared.
There aren't any other Himeno houses around. Guess this must be the one. Maybe somebody will come home at night. Let's waste some time. What kind of books would I get the urge to read when nearing my death?
No longer
I'd always
human.
wondered that. To put it another way, what kind of book could possibly be useful right before death? As it turns out, I chose some not particularly interesting picks. Wanting to try observing and reading at the same time?
Something like that.
It was my first experience, reading a book with someone else. Reading like this, I wasn't just thinking about how I felt, but also how Miyagi felt reading the same part. Having that awareness seemed to make for more enriching reading. She sure does have a calming smell to her, I thought. Still nobody home. Maybe tomorrow.
Are you going to a festival?
The shrine passed it. Wanna drop by? I hadn't seen such a festival in 10 years. Ever since Himeno left, I'd stopped going to the local one.
What are you buying all that for?
Dunno. I couldn't tell you myself. There's no way I can eat this all myself, so you'll have to help.
Sharing!
I'll indulge.
Guess going for a full tour was too much. That day, Himeno made a premonition. Something really good would happen. And one day, we'd be glad we lived. In the summer 10 years later. Furthermore, she said that if we hadn't found someone to marry after 10 years, being that we were both on the shelf, we should marry each other. Well, right now, I was in that summer. One of us had become used goods, and the other was ending his life unfit to sell. But all told, neither of us had a satisfied customer to our names. Where was Himeno now? And what was she doing? I wonder. Some things are too good to be true, so people say. And yet in reality, though people may not notice it themselves in this sort of perverse prankstery way, things do come together. Himeno.
My heart.
Kusunoki?
I think Alex. My heart is full. They met.
After Himeno and I reunited, I can barely remember what we actually talked about. That's just how excited I was. I was probably talking without thinking, but it didn't matter what the conversation was. For me to say something and Himeno to respond, that was all I needed. It didn't seem she had come to see the festival. She was here for work reasons and happened to be parked near the shrine, so she ended up passing through.
I'd love to talk a little longer, but I have to get up early.
Oh, okay, wanna go for a drink sometime soon?
Alcohol's no good, but a meal...
Sure thing, promising to meet for dinner 2 days later. We parted ways.
Well, that was nice. I hadn't expected things would go like that myself.
Me neither. Just seems to be too good to be true, you know?
Yes, I suppose sometimes it is true.
Finally, a W for him. I'm so proud of him.
I've got kind of a strange request for you.
I don't drink.
It's not that. Tomorrow I want you to help prepare me for Himeno.
Prepare you? In what way?
I know it'd be pointless to hide anything from you now, so I'm gonna be honest. In 20 years, I've never really interacted with a girl.
Oh, I never
Ever.
could tell.
So if I just went into this Himeno thing, I know I'd probably bore her and mess up a lot. To hopefully cut down on that, I want to go to town tomorrow and rehearse.
If I'm not mistaken, you're saying you want me to play the part of Miss Himeno?
That's right. Will you accept?
Well, I don't much mind, but in practice, I imagine there would be issues.
Oh, you mean how I'm the only one who can see you?
Yes, that.
Not a problem. Why should I care what people think? All that matters is simply that Himeno thinks well of me. Even if everybody else ridicules me, as long as Himeno likes me just a little, I'm satisfied with that.
When it comes to Miss Himeno, you really become like a different person, don't you? But are you certain about this? As you should know, I know very little about how women in my generation think. I may be an inadequate substitute.
It's no problem. Far as I can see, you're not so different from any of the other girls out there. Except for the part where you're a little cuter.
Well, if it's no problem to you, then very well. I don't believe you have to wear anything too fancy. As long as it comes off as clean, that should be enough.
Can I interpret that as you'd look good in anything?
No.
You're free to interpret it however you want.
Got it. I'll interpret it as I want. Seems to me it's a compliment.
No need to air your every thought.
Tomorrow, I'm meeting someone important. I did as Miyagi advised, and the beautician passionately cut my hair, giving me a number of tips for my big day.
Why, you're almost like an entirely different person from yesterday.
Yeah, I sure don't look like a guy whose life is only worth 10,000 yen a year, huh?
Indeed, you look as if you're someone with the promise of a happy future.
Thank you. And when you smile, Miyagi, you look like a fairy of the library.
You're rather chipper today, Mr. Kusunoki.
Seems I am.
What was that about? A fairy of the library.
I just mean a graceful and intelligent woman.
Please save that line for Miss Himeno, will you?
But her virtues are a different beast. I'm talking about you, Miyagi.
Well, thank you. Of course, in reality, both you and I are worth next to nothing as people.
Pretty strange, huh?
Are they like, who's
All
that?
right. Try to think of me as Miss Himeno and seduce me, Mr. Drunk Kusunoki.
Right.
Don't look.
You appearing before me was the best thing that's ever happened in my life. And when you left my sight, that was the worst thing to ever happen. And now, depending on your reply, I might have a new best or worst.
That was a pretty smooth delivery for such a roundabout pickup line. I'm impressed.
So then, how do you think Himeno would reply?
Well, if it were Miss Himeno, what's all this nonsense all of a sudden? She might say, and try to laugh it off.
Huh. What if it were Miyagi?
I don't catch your meaning.
Joking. Don't worry about it.
Mr. Kusunoki, are you truly that kind of person? The kind to joke?
I'm not sure myself. I don't put much trust in words like personality or disposition or character. Those things all change depending on the situation. In the long run, what differs from person to person is what situations they're likely to end up in. People put a lot of faith in consistency, but it might be more superficial than most people think.
I wouldn't have expected you of all people to say something like that.
When there's a depressing statistic, everyone likes to think they're the exception.
I suppose that is true.
This went suspiciously well. I'm afraid for him.
The very first time I came here, Himeno was with me too. That railing up there, at the top of the spiral stairs, is just the right height for a kid to want to get on top of, so even Himeno tried to climb up. But I noticed the sheer gap past the railing, just as Himeno was about to fall all the way to the ground. If I hadn't happened to be there to grab her, she just might have. She acts intellectual, but she can be a real goof too. It's like, you just can't leave her alone. I got a scrape in all the hurry reaching for her. But for that one day, she got unusually nice. At that point, she knew more than I did. She had yet to tell me something crucial. The viewing platform would have been an appropriate place to explain, but Miyagi didn't speak of it. Maybe she thought she'd let me keep dreaming as long as I could. Outside the bookstore at 5. Okay, it's no rush.
Oh god, she's gonna come. She's gonna be there.
Kusunoki!
Even if Himeno hadn't been someone I'd been waiting to see for a decade, I still would have said she radiated beauty that day.
Bus was late because of the rain. Sorry to make you wait. I'll treat you to something.
No, allow me. Forget about that for today.
So, are you expecting a next time?
Yep. And next time I'll probably be expecting one after that.
Glad you're being honest.
That's just the sort of line Himeno would say. Himeno really hadn't changed a bit since then. Even as a 10-year-old, though she was sarcastic, she spoke with a hint of warmth.
Share an umbrella! Share an umbrella!
You were always the one who forgot his umbrella, which meant I reluctantly had to let you share mine.
Yeah, you're right. So then, wouldn't it be good to reverse it from now on?
Aha. By the way, what were you doing the other day?
Looking for you, Himeno.
Liar.
It's true. I felt that things were going great. I was expressing my affection for Himeno, and she was showing me her affection for me. That's what I believed, and I didn't doubt it. I didn't really want to know what Himeno was thinking then, deep in her heart.
Oh no. No. Ad break. Imagine she starts talking about an MLL screen. Actually, that's happened to me before, where like old high school friends have like come back to me like trying to sell MLM, and I'm like, oh.
My prayers for Kusunoki to die, if only a moment sooner.
Very normal.
Following Mr. Kusunoki's promise of a date to Miss Himeno, that night.
To prepare me for meeting Himeno, I want you to go out with me all day tomorrow.
I suppose what he meant by this was that he wanted me to be his partner for a rehearsal of the date. Well, I don't much mind.
You don't look so happy about it to me.
This is how I always look. Never before had a subject made me such a request.
To be clear, Miyagi, I'm going to treat you just like my childhood friend. You really won't mind that?
No, I do not mind.
Okay, then tomorrow, as people who mutually respect and trust each other, let's get along, shall we?
So the exact opposite of usual, then.
If you want to put it that way.
Mr. Kusunoki, just to confirm, you mean to treat me like your childhood friend. That's what you said, yes?
That's the idea.
In that case, should we not be walking a bit closer together?
Maybe you're right about that, Miyagi.
Got him.
Let's walk side by side then.
When you're alone for so long, you do forget these kinds of common sense things.
So at times like this, what's a friendly couple supposed to talk about?
Please don't ask me.
I just wanted to say before you pointed out, but I'm really nervous right now.
Please don't be. It's contagious.
Then let it contage. Go, make Miyagi nervous too.
If that's how it is, let me say this before you point it out too. I've been invisible ever since I was 10, so I don't really understand the proper etiquette for situations like these.
She's really well adjusted for being invisible since 10.
The more I look, the less sure I get. Miyagi, you choose.
I don't believe you have to wear anything too fancy. As long as it comes off as clean, that should be enough.
Can I interpret that as you'd look good in anything?
You're free to interpret it however you want.
Got it. I'll interpret it as I want. Seems to me it's a compliment.
No need to air your every thought. Come on, go change if you've made up your mind.
Miyagi? I forgot to say, but thanks.
Don't mention it. Being given that kind of thanks worried me.
I was choked. Do I want to encourage Kusunoki?
Now, I want to take this practice one step further. If it gets too unpleasant, don't hesitate to tell me.
It won't bother me. As I explained before, part of an observer's job is to provide support for the remainder of the subject's lifetime. Considering this is merely one such case,
I had your promise, right? So no complaining.
That's why I said it wouldn't bother me. What an idiot, I thought. To passers-by, it appeared he talked to empty space where there was no one, and seemed to be gently grabbing onto nothingness. So I found myself wanting to tease him a bit. All right, try to think of me as Miss Himeno and seduce me, Mr. Drunk Kusunoki.
You appearing before me was the best thing that's ever happened in my life. And when you left my sight, that was the worst thing to ever happen. And now, depending on your reply, I might have a new best or worst.
That was a pretty smooth delivery for such a roundabout pickup line.
So then, how do you think Himeno would reply?
Well, what's all this nonsense all of a sudden? She might say, and try to laugh it off.
Huh. What if it were Miyagi?
I don't catch your meaning.
Joking. Don't worry about it.
It really was an utterly tasteless joke. Such a detestable person.
Hey, Miyagi. See that? Can we practice that too?
Please stop asking permission for everything. You already forcibly took my hand saying you promised earlier.
Oh yeah. Then I'll just do this without asking.
You smelled faintly of cigarettes, and that's Kusunoki's smell, alright?
Don't read anything weird into what I'm about to say.
What is it?
Your smell kind of calms me down, Miyagi.
Please don't touch my hair.
That's not what you said earlier, is it? I need permission now?
You do know how you look to others right now, don't you?
Dunno. Do I look happy, maybe?
He really is such an idiot.
How would you score that confession I gave earlier?
40 points.
Harsh.
I have 100.
It's just too roundabout. Try for something more simple.
Okay.
Mr. Kusunoki, let's practice this again. Once more.
Again?
Think of me as Himeno and seduce me.
Himeno. From now on, be by my side. Always. Hey, say something already. What's my score?
60 points.
Alright, so adding that to the 40 makes 100.
You can't add them up like that. 60 points is 60 points.
So how can I make up the remaining 40?
I doubt you'll ever figure it out your whole life. Unfortunate, really.
Boy, Miyagi, you're a tough one.
The remaining 40 points. For the rest of his life, he'd surely never notice that it was a difference of about 6 letters. If only those words could have been directed at me. Having read his life summary, I know, at his meeting tomorrow, Mr. Kusunoki will be deeply, deeply wounded. It's embarrassing to admit, but I'm secretly delighting in it. He should be hurt more. He should despair more. Such that he'll have no one else he can rely on, and be forced to cry on my shoulder. I'm thinking such nonsense. It had been 10 years since I'd held anyone's hand. Of course, it was likely nothing to him, and yet it was extremely important to me. Some part of me had been impatiently waiting for so long. I wish tomorrow wouldn't come. Then maybe I'd always get to keep taking Himeno's place.
I'm stressed.
Thanks for yesterday.
It was nothing, really.
It was totally something. Thanks to you, I feel like I can do it today.
Yes, I hope it goes well. She also used to hum that song he's humming now. Long ago, there was just one subject who was kind to me. Just like this, she treated me like I was a normal girl. And
thank you for watching over me until the end. Now, I'll watch over you from up above the clouds.
it was with those words that she died. That was when I made up my mind. No more would I love anyone who was going to go away, I vowed. But it would seem that I'm making the same mistake once again. No matter what I do, it seems impossible to hide my quickened heartbeat. There can be no going back once you start to love someone. I pray I come to accept that truth. But even so, at least, before my feelings pass the point of no return, before I find it impossible to separate from him, please, may Kusunoki die, if only a moment sooner.
Okay. I feel like the ad breaks are like mood whiplash, but oh man. There's no way this date can go good with Himeno. But I pray it does. I don't remember. Okay. Are we gonna finish this tonight? This is 18 chapters. We're only on chapter 9.
Prosciutto di Parma.
The gorgonzola cream pasta and a salad, please.
Please go
I'd like to know what you've been up to all these years, Kusunoki.
I'd like to hear about you first, Himeno.
No, let's start with you.
Well, this isn't going to be all that interesting. Starting with the disclaimer, I talked about middle and high school. How I started to see my scholarly abilities gradually decline in middle school third year. How I went to the best college prep school in the area, yet ended up now attending a shockingly average college. And how I hadn't touched a paintbrush since the winter when I was 17. I was done in less than 5 minutes. There was hardly anything worth talking about in my life.
Huh? So you gave up on art? That's too bad. Personally, I liked your pictures, Kusunoki.
Big difference from this other guy I know.
You were drawing all the time, and you made such beautiful, breathtaking pictures like it was nothing. I could never come close. You probably never noticed, but sometimes I took your pictures home and stared at them for ages.
You never told me anything like that back then.
Well, at the time, I was super antagonistic toward you. I didn't want to admit you had other talents other than studying.
Yeah, I was antagonistic too. We were about the same in academics, yet it seemed the adults would always heap their praise on pretty little Himeno. I thought it was just unfair that someone could be such a capable student. And beautiful.
Yeah,
Cordy!
I guess nobody would have expected a girl like that would drop out of high school.
Drop out?
So you didn't know after all. I can't say this is too interesting either, but...
Himeno then explained the events leading up to her dropping out. She omitted the part about her pregnancy, which Miyagi had given in her summary.
Ultimately, I suppose I was childish. I couldn't stand the slightest imperfection, so I messed things up way down to the roots. It seems my mind's never changed ever since that summer 10 years ago, when I changed schools and left you. I'm sure 10 years ago, I was a reasonably smart girl, but I suppose as a result, just gave rise to foolish pride deep down, the notion I didn't need to mature any further. And so I'm still not that much different from that 10-year-old dreamer, even while everyone else keeps changing. So what about you, Kusunoki? I'm sure you've also changed in these 10 years.
You're not the only one who hasn't changed, Himeno. Since the day we parted, I too haven't changed a bit. Around this point, I began to lose my calm.
Don't
I knew what I
confess
was saying.
right now.
I predicted how it would sound to Himeno's ears. Years with nothing to live for, passing pointless, lonely days. It felt like the world only existed to disappoint me, and I understood how foolish it was to do this. It was like I was already half dead. But that's why, just a few days ago, that wouldn't stop me. I sold off my lifespan for 10,000 yen per year. I let the jumbled mess that had built up inside me out all at once. I jumped from one topic to another, the shop that dealt in lifespan, despairing over my future, and selling off all but 3 months of my life. And after that, my being followed around by an invisible observer. You can't see her, Himeno, but she's here, right now. Here, right here. She's a girl named Miyagi, and while she speaks in a really blunt way, if you just talk with her, she's actually very...
Hey, Kusunoki? I don't mean any offense, but do you have any idea how completely unreal what you're saying is?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know how ridiculous it sounds.
Yes, it is ridiculous. But, you know, Kusunoki, despite that, I can't think it's a lie. Not the part about having a little time left, nor that there's a girl observing you. We've known each other long enough that if you try to lie, or tried to pull one over on me, I'd know right away. So while it's certainly hard to swallow, I can believe that you're not lying about selling your lifespan.
What?
I'm sorry for making you go first. But actually, I've been hiding something too. Excuse me. We can continue this after we have our dinner.
Oh no. No.
Miyagi, sorry, but could you check the ladies' room? Maybe something happened to Himeno. Himeno never came back. I walked around the restaurant, but she was nowhere to be found. I returned to my seat in defeat.
Quite tasty even when it's cold.
Hey, Miyagi. Be honest with me. Why do you think Himeno left?
Perhaps because she thought you were insane.
But the truth was a little more complicated. And Miyagi knew that too. And she hid it. For my sake.
Sir, your companion asked me to give you this.
Miyagi, you knew about this and kept it from me?
I did. I'm sorry.
No need to apologize. You let me have a good dream. And in my original life, Himeno would have succeeded in her objective. Is that right?
Correct. Miss Himeno would have done it right before your eyes, Mr. Kusunoki.
To show it to me. To clear up years of resentment.
To my one and only childhood friend, I had intended to die right in front of you. At the viewing platform, I had meant to have you wait below and fall right down next to you. Maybe you would say you didn't realize, but I always despised you. For never responding to my cries for help, and casually appearing before me now. I couldn't hate you more. So now that you consider me someone you can't do without, I thought I'd kill myself. But it seems like you've gone even more insane than me in these 10 years. It doesn't seem like it'll do any good getting revenge on you now. So I'm just going to quietly vanish. Goodbye. I only hope that what you said about having little time left to live is true.
What?
What a fool I am. I'd lived alone all my life. to avoid feeling like this. I should have just trusted in my own way to the end.
You'll be drenched.
As you can see, I'm in a getting drenched mood.
Is that right?
You don't have to get drenched, you know.
As you can see, I am in a getting drenched mood.
Ads that look like this are lying to you.
They're
Mass
lying to
marketed
you.
hair-
Oh my god, what? She hated him this whole time? I guess in a way it's good because he saved her life by being insane in front of her. I'm so shook up by this. Okay.
Seeing Miyagi hold her knees, trying to stay warm and sleep, I pitied her for having to deal with the selfish actions of an idiot like me. I stood up slowly so I wouldn't wake Miyagi and wandered around, soon finding an empty community center. Certainly it would have to wake up a girl who slept even lighter than me, but Miyagi feigned sleep the whole time. Perhaps it was only a dream founded in desire. In times of despondency, those are a common occurrence. I knew it was Miyagi because of her smell. Even in summer, she smelled like a clear winter morning. I don't think it lasted any more than a minute. Miyagi seemed to whisper something, but I couldn't make it out over the rain. In my drowsiness, I thought, just how much has Miyagi helped me? How cornered would I feel now if Miyagi weren't there? But that's just why I shouldn't trouble her any further. She's kind to me because I'm going to die soon. It doesn't mean she has any affection for me. I'll just die quietly. I'll go back to my usual self-sufficient, modest life, where I don't count on anyone for anything. Like a cat, I'll expire silently and in secret. So I secretly vowed. In the morning, after a 4-hour trek from the community center, we finally reached the apartment. My body was drenched in sweat, and my feet were blistered. The shower. You going first? Nah, she'd probably just refuse. I'll try to get out quick at least. My understanding was that Miyagi was free to take showers and eat, only while I was sleeping.
Mr. Kusunoki. Mr. Kusunoki, are you sleeping? I ask, of course, because you appear to be feigning sleep. And if you are indeed, I would like to say, if you did so out of concern for me, it'd be nice. Good night. I'll be using your shower.
Just as an experiment, I tried imitating the way Miyagi slept, but as long as I sat there, sleep just wouldn't come.
What are you doing there? You should sleep in bed.
That should be my line.
She's like, that's
it's
my spot.
ridiculous sleeping like this.
Ridiculous as it may be, I am used to it.
I'm sleeping on the left side from now on. No matter what, I won't intrude on the right side, won't even look. Would be a perfect place for you to observe me up close. It's up to you if you want to use it or not, but I'll sleep on the left at any rate.
Are you still half asleep, Mr. Kusunoki? I was just a little tired today, you see. From tomorrow on, I'll sleep in my usual spot. But thank you very much.
At the ATM, I withdrew the last of my part-time money.
Yeah, but you threw all your other money. Okay, it's fine.
Running out of things to do. I've done everything on my things to do before I die list. So now what?
Do whatever you like. Even you must have hobbies of some sort, yes?
Yeah, they were listening to music and reading. But now that I think about it, those two were just means by which to keep living. Now that there's no longer a need to force myself to keep going, I don't find them as necessary as before.
Do you not appreciate anything more on the simple side? Do you like walking and counting railroad ties, say? Or playing games on ancient arcade cabinets?
Those are awfully specific. Let me guess, you observed guys like that?
Yes. There was even one who spent his last month of life lying in the back of a pickup truck and looking up at the sky. A rather nice way to pass the time. It's a fresh feeling, watching the scenery fly backward.
Hey, could you tell me more like that?
I can tell you plenty when we return to the apartment, but you will appear rather suspicious if you keep talking here.
Back home, Miyagi did tell me more, as if she were reading a storybook to a child. She told anecdotes. No matter how stupid or pointless the story, when it came from Miyagi's lips, it felt very warm and soothing. The next day, while folding cranes with the remaining origami paper, I thought about what I should do.
Simply keeping on like this may not be so bad either.
Yeah, wouldn't really mind just drowning in paper cranes.
Woo!
Oh.
What is it?
It's really stupid, but I just remembered something that I can really truly say I like.
Then please, say it.
I love vending machines.
Okay.
What about them do you like?
I don't know. Can't really place it myself. But ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be a vending machine when I grew up.
Just checking, but by vending machines, you mean coffee selling, soda selling machines like this one?
Yeah, but also cigarettes, ice cream, hamburgers, udon, beer, liquor, cup noodles. Vending machines provide it all. And Japan's the land of vending machines.
And so, you have a love for vending machines.
Yeah, that's right. I like to use them. And I even like just looking at them.
Well, that's a unique hobby.
It was a stupid hobby.
But I think I do understand.
My burning desire to become a vending machine?
No, that I don't think I can ever understand. But, you see, vending machines are always there. Simply provide money, and they will always offer warmth. They offer more than the sum of their products. They offer a clear function with a sense of invariance and permanence.
Wow, that's something. You said what I wanted to say a lot better than I could.
Thank you. Vending machines are important to us observers as well, as they don't ignore us. So then, it's all well and good to know that you like them, but what would you actually want to do?
Well, I'll have to explain something else I like. Every time I come to this cigarette shop, I'm reminded of a part from Paul Auster's Smoke. The cigar shop owner goes out in front every morning, without fail, to take a photo. That challenge to the idea of meaning really struck me. So yeah, I want to imitate him and take photos that are meaningless at a glance. Just keep taking crude photos of ordinary vending machines in a way anybody could do.
I'm unsure how to word it, but I think I like that too.
And so, my vending machine tours began.
Okay.
Whenever I took a picture, I tried to get the stuff around the vending machine in view as well. What kind of area the machine was in, and in what condition, that's what I wanted to capture. There were many vending machines which I'd walked by countless times, yet had always overlooked. Discoveries like that made my heart dance. At the start of each day, I'd head for the photo studio. During the 30 minutes it took for the film to develop, I would go have breakfast. At the end of the day, I'd lay out the photos developed that morning and carefully put each one into an album. One day, the owner of the photo studio saw me laughing with Miyagi and asked,
I was wondering, is there someone there?
That's right, a girl named Miyagi.
Hello.
Her job's to observe me.
I see.
He readily accepted the invisible Miyagi's existence.
So then, these strange photos, they're actually photos of her?
Oh no, they're just photos of vending machines. The owner's face told how little he understood.
Well, keep at it then,
he said.
What are you doing?
Oh, just figured I'd take one after what the photo guy said. It will only appear as a meaningless photo of a bike to others. All my pictures are meaningless to others. Of course, people like the photo studio owner were the minority. I'd be concerned if they weren't.
Sorry to make you wait.
Alright, let's go. The man who lived next door shot me a look of disgust.
Oh.
Well, not like I cared what anybody thought.
The shop owner was like almost on his side, and then he's like, oh, nah, she's not in the pictures. They're just vending machine photos. I'm crying.
It was an utterly clear, not very windy day. I was lost in an area which Miyagi and I had never seen nor heard of. After wandering for about 2 hours... Hey, I know that place.
It seems this is your hometown, Mr. Kusunoki.
Guess when I'm lost, maybe I head this way on instinct. Still, doesn't change that there are vending machines here too.
That's true.
Oh.
A candy store.
I used to go here as a kid. Looks like it shut down a while ago though. This machine, it's been here since the first time I ever visited. Hey, can cats see you, Miyagi?
Yay!
As you can see, dogs and cats can see me. Not to say that they like me, however.
So you do this for a hobby?
Yes. Are you surprised?
Yeah, but still, you're not so great at it.
Which is why I'm practicing. And isn't that great?
Miyagi, could you show me all the stuff you've drawn?
Well, we should be moving on now.
After half a day exploring my hometown, it happened as we headed for the next town, and I passed in front of the candy store again. Hello. You probably don't remember me, do you? It's understandable. It was about 10 years ago I last came here. But, personally, I remember you very well. When I was 8 or 9, I fought with my mother one night and left home. I hadn't thought ahead much, so I went to kill time at the candy store.
Don't you need to go home?
Having just had a heated argument with a parent, I blubbered something back. And after hearing that, a few hours later, a call came from my parents. When asked if I was over there, he replied,
He is, but let's say he isn't for another hour.
maybe you didn't think it was a big deal at all. But I think it's thanks to that experience that I can still put my deepest hopes in someone. Or at least, so I've convinced myself. If you've forgotten about me, then I'm sure you've forgotten about Himeno too. I often came to the store with her. Both Himeno and I were black sheep at school, yet, just having her by my side, I could handle any bullying just fine. In the summer of 4th grade, her parents moved and she changed schools. I used her remark about getting together if we hadn't found anyone by 20 to prop myself up for 10 whole years. However, it seems that any fondness Himeno may have had for me turned into a vicious hate at some point. Just what did I do wrong? I kept thinking about it. Then one day, I suddenly remembered the letter I got from Himeno when I was 17. She was never the sort of person to write friendly letters to others, so the moment a letter from her arrived, I really should have realized. Now then, that letter was Himeno's form of an SOS. Let's compare answers. Back then, she must have been seeking my help with that letter. Much like me, when she was feeling cornered, she clung to her past. Himeno's letter wasn't in the time capsule, because she dug it up first, and reminded of her one and only childhood friend. She sent him a letter. Having failed to notice her intent, I was no longer qualified for that position, and so I lost Himeno. She became hollow, and the moment I realized it, so did I.
That's a lot to tell this old lady.
It's probably a bad place to stop, but that's this gloomy story's end. I'm terribly sorry for making you sit through all that.
Goodbye.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Mr. Kusunoki? Mr. Kusunoki,
What?
I'll tell you something good. I just remembered. I've been on this road before, long before I became an observer. If you follow the road a bit more, then make a right turn somewhere, you'll arrive at Starry Lake.
Starry Lake?
The lake I said I wanted to visit before I died. It's what I call it.
Oh yeah, you did tell me about that.
Now, wasn't that something good?
Yeah, it sure was.
Oh gosh. Now wasn't that something good? Immediately.
Now, listen carefully to what I tell you. I will guide you along. Keep your eyes closed until I tell you to open them.
You don't want to show me until we're right there, huh?
Yes. So long as we're out here, do you not want to see the stars in the best of conditions as well? Now close your eyes. Tell me, Mr. Kusunoki, what if I were to deceive you and lead you somewhere outrageous?
Outrageous how?
Somewhere dangerous, like a cliff or a bridge.
I didn't consider it, and I'm not gonna.
Why not?
Can't see any reason why you do something like that.
Is that right? Stop here, please. Watch your step. And lie down flat. And then, you may open your eyes.
Wow.
I feel like I understand now why you wanted to see this again before you died.
Don't you?
And we sat looking up at the stars for a very long time.
magical.
Miyagi, you've lied for my sake, haven't you? Like saying Himeno barely remembered me.
I also had a childhood friend.
Is that the person important to you mentioned before?
Indeed. I once had someone in my life who was to me as Miss Himeno was to you. We could never get accustomed to the way of this world, so we relied on each other, living in a world all our own. On my first day off after becoming an observer, the first thing I did was check on him. I had expected he would be grieving terribly over my disappearance. However, in a matter of weeks, he had all too quickly adapted to a world without me. That was when I realized that in reality, I'd merely been a shackle on him. To be entirely honest, I think I wanted to have made him unhappy. I wanted him to despair and wait for my return.
Oh.
I didn't want to learn the truth, that he could make it on his own. I have not gone to see him since.
And yet you'd still want to see him before you died.
Yes. Because I don't know anything else. It's the only thing I can cling to. That's why I can very much understand how you feel. Though perhaps you don't want me to.
Nah. Thanks. For understanding.
Don't mention it.
Only because today was so tiring. Miyagi dove into the bed. I tried to sneak just one glance at Miyagi, but... I should have wished on a shooting star that things could just go on like this. When I woke up the next morning, Miyagi was gone. Only her notebook remained by the bed.
Ay, ay, ay. Don't be drawings of him. Don't be drawings of him. Nani?
When Miyagi first came to the apartment, I honestly thought how if my observer had been ugly, dirty, and middle-aged, maybe I'd be able to relax better. The observer who stood before me now was a man rather like that. Where's the usual girl?
On break. I'm filling in today and tomorrow.
So her break will be over in 2 days and then back to normal?
Yep. That's the plan.
So even observers get days off?
Course, gotta. Because unlike you, we still got a lot of living to do.
Huh. Well, that's a relief.
So anyway, this is how you're spending the last of your life, huh? Stupid as hell.
Well, yeah. I think it's stupid too.
Hey, you. You ain't causing that girl any trouble, are ya?
By that girl, you mean Miyagi?
Who else?
Let me guess. You're friendly with Miyagi?
Nah, nothing like that. I was the one who bought her time from her way back. But that's all.
What'd you think?
Poor girl. Really, really pity her.
Well, yeah. I think I've troubled Miyagi. I've said things that have hurt her, and came close to physically harming her. And also, a little past that, I almost forced her to the ground.
Huh? Why, you? What's this?
You should find all the details there. It's the observation log Miyagi's been writing. Don't want the subject himself reading it, I bet.
Observation log?
After that, the man was a lot less aggressive. I didn't know what was in there, but Miyagi must have written favorably about me.
Just something I ask all the subjects, but what did you use your money for?
It didn't say in the observation log.
Didn't read it in much detail.
I scattered it to the wind on a bridge. Looked pretty nice all fluttering about.
Huh?
Ay, ay, ay.
Fluttering?
Funny, huh?
Ooh, no hope for a moron like you.
Agreed. Could have done a lot more good with 300,000 yen.
Nope. That's not even why I'm making fun of you. Hey, you, don't tell me. Did you seriously believe it when they said your lifespan was worth 300,000 yen?
What do you mean? I mean, yeah, I thought that was pretty low at first.
Right. Hey, I don't want to say anything, but, well, next time you see that girl, you ask her, was my lifespan really worth 300,000 yen? Like that.
He seemed unwilling to tell me any more than that. Night came, but I couldn't sleep, and kept thinking in the darkness about what his words meant.
Good morning, Mr. Kusunoki. How do you plan to spend today?
The usual way.
Vending machine touring, then. Where are we headed?
What would you do if I deceived you and took you somewhere outrageous?
So then, we're headed somewhere where one can see a beautiful sight.
Who knows?
May I interpret this as thanks for the night at the lake?
You're free to interpret it however you want.
Understood. I will interpret it freely. Very much so.
No need to narrate to me. Miyagi,
Yes? What is it?
why'd you lie?
I'm not entirely sure what you're talking about.
Let me make it a little simpler then. Was my lifespan really worth 300,000 yen?
Of course it is. I'm sorry to say, but your worth simply isn't very much. I would have thought you'd accepted this some time ago.
Well, I did. Until last night.
Did my substitute say something to you?
When I heard you'd lied to me, at first I simply thought you took a cut of the money I was meant to get for yourself, but I just couldn't believe that. I didn't want to think that was it, that you'd been fooling me all the way from the time we met. I wondered if, maybe, I was making a critical mistake. I pondered that all night, until I realized. Why did I believe that 10,000 yen for a year was the lowest possible price? All my assumptions were wrong from the start. So, why was it that you decided to give away 300,000 yen to someone you'd never even seen before?
I don't have the faintest idea what you're saying.
You can feign ignorance. That works. But I just want to say, thank you.
It's all right.
So, really, how much am I worth?
30 yen.
A 3-minute phone call. Sorry for using your 300,000 yen the way I did.
Indeed. I do wish you would have used it more for yourself. Yet, I certainly understand how you feel, Mr. Kusunoki. Perhaps the reason I gave you that 300,000 yen and the reason you scattered it to the wind are the same. At their core, lonely, sad, and hollow. I found myself turning to a desperate act of altruism. Though, thinking about it, if I had just told you the truth, perhaps you wouldn't have sold your lifespan. Then at least you would be able to live a longer life. I apologize for my meddlesome deeds.
That's not true. If you told me you're worth 30 yen from the start, I bet I'd really despair and sell off everything. Even the 3 months.
There was never any reason why you should turn to despair. 30 yen is merely an arbitrary value decided by some higher-ups. At least, to me, Mr. Kusunoki. You are a person who is worth 30 million or 3 billion yen.
Stop it. That's such a weird consolation.
It's true!
If you're too kind to me, I'll just get miserable. I know that you're a nice girl already, so really, you can stop.
You're quite annoying. Just be quiet and let me compliment you.
Never been told anything like that before.
Besides, this isn't consolation or kindness. I'm just telling you what I've been wanting to say. I do not care what you think of it. Indeed, towards the start, I thought you were someone who deserved only 30 yen. By no means did it have to be you who I gave my 300,000 yen to, Mr. Kusunoki. However, after that day at the station, you took my story to heart, didn't you? Once you sympathized with my situation, starting then, Mr. Kusunoki, you were no longer just my subject for observation. And also, I know it must be trifling to you, but worryingly enough, the fact that you would talk to me and that you would do it not caring if you were in public made me very happy. Because I've always been invisible. Being ignored was my job. Just eating at restaurants and talking. Walking and holding hands. Even little things like that felt like a dream come true. You were the first person to always treat me like I was there. No matter the time or situation.
If you like it that much, then until I die, I could keep doing that.
I would love that. Since I really do love you. Though, it's no use loving someone who's soon to go away. You know, Mr. Kusunoki, there are also many other lies I've told you, besides the value of your lifespan, and besides Himeno. For example, how your lifespan would be terminated if you caused others trouble. It was a lie. And dying if you went 100 meters from me. Also a lie. They were all no more than ways to protect myself. Nothing but lies. If you are offended, you may do anything you wish to me.
Anything?
Yes. As terrible as you may desire.
Then, gladly.
That was quite terrible. Now after you've done that, I know I'll never forget you.
Yeah. One lots for me when I'm dead.
If you're alright with it, then until I die, I can keep doing that.
It was then that I finally found an objective for my meaningless last months. Even if I had less than 2 months left, I would pay Miyagi's debt in full, no matter what it took. So I decided.
Oh my god. I was trying so hard not to scream during the panels. Whoa! Oh my gosh. Should we finish it? There's still so many chapters left, but I'm kind of like sucked in. Like I need to know. Okay, I think we're gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going. It's okay. It's okay. Anyways, ad break.
Introducing the hide and seek from Belroy, a traditional.
Oh my god, I'm so embarrassed, but also excited, but also like, wow. I didn't expect it to come together so nice and beautiful. Okay, it's fine. Solus did such a good job. Okay.
Though I'd made up my mind to repay Miyagi's debt, I had 2 months left. For an average college student like me to make a sum far greater than a salaryman's annual income in that time,
Me too, Lubu.
was there any possible way? Thanks to you, Miyagi, I'm a much happier person than I used to be. So just hypothetically, how much would it go for if I sold my lifespan at that shop now?
As you surmise, a person's worth is fluid to some extent, but unfortunately, your subjective happiness has little effect on the value of your lifespan.
So then, what would add the most value?
Social contributions, fame, they favor things which are objective and easily recognizable, so to speak. Mr. Kusunoki? Please don't think of doing anything strange. I believe I know more or less what you are considering. No doubt, you're thinking of ways to repay my debt, yes? If so, then I'm glad. But even so, I must say that I don't want you to let your remaining time go to waste. If you are in fact trying to look out for my happiness, I'm terribly sorry, but that is a clear lapse of judgment.
Just for reference, what's happiness for you, Miyagi?
Pay more attention to me. You haven't been talking to me much lately, have you?
Hello.
Oh.
Pretty hard again today. I was hitting the limits of what I could think up myself. I would need the imagination of others. I wanted to ask something. How do you think you should go about improving your own value?
Well, let's see. Being reliable. Maybe that's all there really is. Look straight ahead at what you can do and keep staying on top of it. No better way than that, I think, having got to the age I am.
I see.
But there's something more important than that. Don't trust the advice of somebody like me. Got that? A guy who's never achieved anything, talking about success, is just blind to his own failings. Don't have to show any respect for what a guy like that says. People with lots of failures talk about him as if to say, in another life, they'd turn them into successes. But they're all, me included of course, making a fundamental mistake. Fixing your mistakes doesn't mean success takes their place. All it'll give you is just a point to start at. That's something failures don't understand.
I found it a little funny remembering how Miyagi had said something very similar. They have only just arrived at the starting line.
Welcome! If you want to accomplish something in a limited time, guess you gotta depend on others, dude. Me? I don't have a lot of faith in my own ability. If I can't tackle a problem with like 80% of my all, I go straight to somebody else.
Should take that to heart or not?
I don't know exactly what you're fixing to do, but whatever you want to accomplish, don't forget about your health.
I quite like this kind of thing.
What about it do you like?
Well, essentially, despite how comical it looks to others, you letting your shoulder get wet is a very kind gesture. That's what I like.
Kusunoki.
It was a guy from college in my major, who I knew enough to say hi to.
Been a while. Where the hell have you been? Haven't seen you on campus at all lately.
I've been going around with this girl here. Her name's Miyagi.
Not funny. You're such a creep.
Can't stop you from thinking that. I'd say the same thing in your position. But Miyagi's here, alright. And she's real cute.
Oh my
I'll
God.
respect that you don't believe it. So I want you to respect that I do.
Man, you really are deranged.
Corny. But we love it.
Thank you for what you did there.
Be reliable. Huh.
Mr. Kusunoki, the fact you would use what little remains of your life to help me, I'm truly, truly glad about it. But it's not necessary. Because you've already been saving me. For some time now. Even once decades have passed without you, I'll be able to think back on the days I spent with you. And cry and laugh to myself, I think. I believe just having memories like that will make living that much easier. And so, really, that's enough. Instead, give me memories. For after you're gone, when I feel hopelessly alone, to warm myself with again and again. As many memories as you can.
Okay, let's go.
Those swan boats move so slow.
Is it really that funny?
I mean, to them, it looks like an adult male riding a swan boat alone, yes? Did you see how the worker recoiled?
When spring comes, you'd surely see this whole lake covered with cherry petals. And in winter, the lake would be mostly frozen, so the swan boats would be retired. Real swans taking their place. It was a somewhat lonely thought, that I would never see spring nor winter again. But looking at Miyagi, smiling beside me, it quickly stopped mattering. It didn't end there. Over the next few days, I did one ridiculous act after another. To put it simply, everything you're not supposed to do alone.
Oh no!
I did. Naturally, though no one else saw it that way. At least I knew I was doing all of it with Miyagi. Basically, anything that would be embarrassing to do alone, I gave it a try. Miyagi! What are you embarrassed for? You got a swimsuit and everything. Don't worry, only I can see it.
That's what's embarrassing. Your thoughts?
Yeah. You look pretty. I would always actively say Miyagi's name. Walk holding hands with her. Make eye contact with her. And generally insist on her existence. I didn't notice at the time, but I was gradually becoming an infamous celebrity since it was a small town. Some sneered at me, bluntly averted their gaze, and furrowed their eyebrows at my antics. Yet others thought of me as a skilled pantomimer, or interpreted my actions as a thought exercise. No, not only that, apparently some people were soothed to see me, and some were actually made happy. What surprised me most was, those who received me poorly and those who received me favorably were roughly equal in number. But why? Why did nearly half of people feel their mood improved seeing my idiotic actions? The answer may have been surprisingly simple. Because it looked like I was having the time of my life. That alone might have been it.
I'm grinning the whole time for this like an idiot. It's so cute.
Let's go now, it's time to get busy. Let's go now, it's time to get busy.
Okay, I'm going to take a quick 2-minute break, and then we'll continue. I think that'll be okay. I think you guys can last 2 minutes, right? I'm sorry. Technical errors. Oh my gosh. It's so cute. Okay, we're on 14. I think there's 18. We can do it. It's easy. Easy. And while times are good, I want to watch more. Time to wreak havoc. Time to commit crime. You got. This feels like. I don't know. And you want to buy some lifespan? No. Have you learned nothing? As soon as they sold their life, now they want to live. Oh, whoops. I mean, never mind. Oh my god. Please let... I don't remember how it ends. Please let this be a happy ending. I am grinning like an idiot the whole time. There's like romance, corny, cheesy stuff though. It's so cute. Okay.
Mr. Kusunoki? Is there anything you'd like me to do?
What's this all of a sudden?
Well, I just felt that you've been the only one giving.
Well, Miyagi, is there anything you want me to do for you?
There isn't. You do plenty enough for me already. If I had to say, my wish is only to know what your wish is.
Then my wish is to know your wish.
And thus, it is my wish to know your wish, Mr. Kusunoki.
Okay.
No, you hang up first.
My wish is to know your wish.
And thus, my wish is... Okay. Before, you asked me what I would do if I only had months to live. And I gave 3 answers, yes?
Starry Lake, make your grave, and childhood friend?
Yes.
So you want to meet your childhood friend then?
Not exactly meet. It would just be me seeing him, of course. I don't doubt that I'll be disappointed, but even if my memories may be spoiled, I feel like I can endure it now. Because you're here, Mr. Kusunoki.
Well, the best consolation for a loser is a more miserable loser after all.
That's not what I meant at all. Are you daft?
I know. My bad. Like this, right?
Yes, like that.
Oh, I wish he could see her.
The man wasn't waiting for a train, but for someone coming off of one. You could just tell. His expression had a certain kind of easygoing confidence. In essence, it was an expression only for those who had confidence from loving someone and being loved. I figured Miyagi didn't care to see who that someone was. Guess we better get going.
Thank you for your concern, but I want to watch. I want to see what kind of person he loves now.
so sad.
Not that long. That dress looks nice on you.
I was hoping you'd like it.
I had actually been considering doing a number of things, taking advantage of how he couldn't see me. But I changed my mind,
Such as,
such as forcibly hugging him, that sort of thing.
if it were me, I think I'd do more than that.
Such as...
If nobody's going to blame me, no reason not to do selfish stuff like that.
Indeed, no one will blame you.
A definite change started to take place when my lifespan went below 50 days.
Hey.
Having fun all on your own, eh?
Looking like a real creep, though.
Made me lose my appetite. Why you gotta do that?
The heat broke your brain? I'll call an ambulance. Hey, say something.
Huh? Is that you, Mr. Kusanagi? You with Miss Miyagi again today? I'm terribly sorry, but could you give up that seat?
That's a big guy.
It was that man who lived on the same floor as me. Is he pretending he sees Miyagi for me?
The hell's that guy's problem?
Whatever. Let's go.
Let me just say first, I don't necessarily believe this Miyagi girl actually exists.
Yeah, I know. You were just helping, huh? I'm grateful.
Actually, it's not entirely that either. You may not admit to it, but I see what you're doing as some kind of performance art. To see how many people you can trick into believing this Miyagi really exists. Through pantomime, you're attempting to prove how people's common sense can be shaken. And that attempt has succeeded on me somewhat.
You mean you can actually feel Miyagi's presence to an extent?
I don't like to admit it, but I believe so. To the extent that, if I actively accepted the existence of Miss Miyagi that you're causing me to sense, I wonder if I would eventually be able to see her for real.
Miyagi has fair skin, and I describe her as a delicate girl. Usually she has cold eyes, but sometimes she'll show a modest smile.
I wonder why. All of those characteristics match with how I imagine Miyagi.
And now, Miyagi's right in front of you. Why do you think that is?
I'm not sure of that part.
She wants a handshake. Hold out your right hand, will you?
So then, am I to believe Miss Miyagi is shaking my hand?
Yep, but you probably think you're moving it yourself.
Would you tell him I said thank you very much?
Miyagi tells me to tell you thank you.
I somehow felt she might. Don't mention it. Sensing Miss Miyagi's presence at your side, perhaps I'm not the only one who can do so. So long as something gets it going, I wonder if Miss Miyagi's existence might very quickly be accepted by everyone.
He was right. It's hard to believe, but after that event, people around us started to accept Miyagi's existence. Of course, it wasn't like they seriously believed in this invisible person. It was more like people mutually agreed to accept my nonsense and play along. As we frequented the town's attractions and festivals, I became a little bit famous as a pitiable, interesting fellow. One night...
So cute little Miyagi is right here, is she? Huh. Now that you say it, I feel like she is.
I thought if I asked you enough questions, I'd catch you in a contradiction. But it's all perfectly consistent. Very interesting.
Here you go.
You should consider yourself lucky I can't see Miss Miyagi. If I could see her, I'd probably fall for her in no time. She's just my type.
Doesn't matter either way, because Miyagi likes me. Ow.
Don't go saying things like that.
Huh?
Mr. Kusunoki? Mr. Kusunoki? Just how much do you like Miss Miyagi? You should show us!
I want to see it too!
Don't air kiss!
Miyagi.
Yes.
Even I was stunned by the sheer absurdity of what I was doing. None of them honestly believed in Miyagi's existence. They must have thought of me as a crazed, happy fool. But what was wrong with that? This summer, I was the best clown in town, for better or worse. There was much more drawn in here than I'd expected. The station waiting room, the school with the time capsule, the festival stands, and... I turned to a new page, and in return, I drew Miyagi sleeping. It had been years since I'd drawn a piece of art without stopping. That thing I'd been so burned by. Art. Looking at my completed work, I felt surprise and satisfaction, but also I felt a tiny nagging feeling. It was easy to overlook. I could have ignored it, closed the sketchbook and gotten right back to sleep. But I was sure of something. I used all of my concentration. I strained my senses to their fullest to figure out that nagging feeling. I reached for it, like a letter floating in a stormy sea, my hand always slipping as I tried to grab it. Many minutes later, as I was about to pull back in defeat, it landed naturally right in my palm. I lifted it very, very carefully out of the water. The next moment, as if something had possessed me, my pencil flew across the sketchbook with intensity. I continued for the entire night.
Impress your friends with this one simple party trick. Make out with a ghost.
Ah, it's Kusunoki!
What a girl you got there.
Great, isn't she? Well, you can't have her. This sort of thing made me happy. Even if they didn't believe it, everyone enjoyed my "Miyagi's right there" nonsense. It was better to enjoy that fiction than to think I was really alone.
The show will be beginning shortly.
We're a good match. That's happened before. In the bed.
So it did. But Mr. Kusunoki, you can get a look at me anytime. You should watch the fireworks instead.
That may not be quite true.
Well, you're right. I do have the day off tomorrow, but I will be back the day after. Unlike last time, it will only be one day I'm gone.
That's not the problem.
Then what is the problem?
Hey, Miyagi. I'm kind of popular in town now. Half the smiles I get are sneers, but the other half come from real fondness. And whatever smiles they are, I feel proud. In grade school, there was this guy I hated. He was actually really smart, but he just hid it from people. He followed around to get others to like him. Couldn't stand that. But lately, I've come to understand. I couldn't help but envy him. From the start, I think I wanted to befriend everyone like this. And thanks to you, Miyagi, I made it happen. I succeeded at making friends with the world.
That's a great thing to hear. So then, what are you really trying to say?
Thanks. For everything, I suppose. I really don't know what else I should say.
You still have over a month left. Is it not a bit too soon to be saying thanks for everything?
Hey, Miyagi. You said you wanted to know my wish, and I promised I'd tell you when I thought of it.
Yes. If it's possible for me, I'll do anything.
Okay, then I'll be honest. When I die, forget about me completely. That's my meager wish.
No.
It seemed to quickly occur to Miyagi what I was going to do tomorrow.
Mr. Kusunoki, while I'm sure you wouldn't, please don't do anything stupid. I'm begging you.
Think about it. Who would have expected 30 and me to live out such wonderful final days? I should have lived the worst life imaginable. But I found some major happiness. Which means your future is still just as uncertain. Someone way more dependable than me could show up and make you much happier.
They won't.
But consider yourself, Miyagi. You never should have shown up for me either, so maybe someone will.
They won't! Mr. Kusunoki, I'm begging you. I'm begging you for at least this last month. Stay with me. I can put up with everything else. The fact that you'll die soon, the fact that others can't see us holding hands, the fact that I'll soon have to live alone for 30 years more. I can put up with all of that. So just, at least for now. At least while you can still be with me. Don't go and throw yourself away. I'm begging you.
Miyagi's tears didn't come to a stop until the very end.
Goodbye. You made me happy.
The next day.
Hey, did you come here knowing this was gonna happen?
Yep, I sold 30 days of my remaining lifespan.
Honestly, I can't recommend this. At this point, money can't be that much of a concern, can it? You do realize that if you simply spend your last month painting, those paintings will end up in art textbooks for years to come. Listen to me. If you just turn back now, you'll have 30 days in which to fervently paint. In that time, your observer will always be there, giving you encouragement. And far past death, the history of art will remember your name. Just what about that dissatisfies you?
Just like money is meaningless after you die, fame is meaningless too.
Don't you want to be eternal?
Even if I am eternal, in a world without me, that's nothing to be glad about.
You're all done.
The right to have my name in a little corner of history sold for a sum that made me doubt my eyes.
30 days doesn't get you quite enough to repay Miss Miyagi's debt in full, but she'll be free with 3 more years of work.
Fine by me.
We don't take those last 3 days. Go spend them as you like.
Yep.
30 days more valuable than 30 years, huh?
And so, I denied eternity. The summer Himeno once made a prediction of was drawing to a close. Her prediction was half wrong. Not even in the end was I ever rich, ever famous. But her prediction was half right. Something really good happened, all right. And like she said, deep down, I could be glad I lived.
thoughts, literally my whole life has exploded in.
Oh god. Oh god, she's gonna be so mad. And I'm so sad. I'm sad and mad.
It was the first morning of my remaining 3 days. Now, I wouldn't have an observer's eyes on me. In other words, Miyagi was gone. I drove around to the places I went with Miyagi, but this time, I really was alone. I drove under a blue sky as if in search of her lingering scent. I wondered if Miyagi was off observing someone else now, hoping they wouldn't turn desperate and attack Miyagi. I prayed, hoping Miyagi could keep working until she paid her debt and live such a happy life that she forgot all about me. I prayed, hoping someone would appear before Miyagi, who she could find far more precious than me, and who valued her just as much. I prayed.
Come on, pass the ball already. Huh? Hey, over here.
I had a sudden idea. Look, it's Miyagi. For everyone else, this was business as usual. That idiot Kusunoki is walking with his imaginary girlfriend again. So they would think. But it was a huge difference for me. In fact, it was hardly the same thing at all. Then, I had a thought. What if it had all been an illusion of mine from the start? I was convinced my life would end in 3 days. I could tell that all but a shred of my life had been used up. That sensation couldn't have been fake. But did that girl named Miyagi really exist? Had her existence, and not only that, but the existence of a shop dealing in lifespan, only been a convenient fantasy of mine, born from feelings of being cornered as I recognized my coming death? At this point, I had no way of knowing.
Oh, Mr. Kusunoki. How's Miss Miyagi?
Miyagi's not here anymore.
Huh? What happened? Did you have a fight?
Something like that. Don't fight, you two.
Well,
I don't know about that.
I mean, even Mr. Kusunoki and Miss Miyagi argue.
If you two get along so well but still fight, then there's no way that we wouldn't.
I wanted to say, you know, that's true. Huh?
You alright?
What's that over there?
Hey, is Kusunoki alright?
Mr. Kusunoki? What happened?
I wasn't sure how to answer, so I told them that we had fought and split up. I made up the story that she turned her back on me and abandoned me.
Well now, what about you didn't Miyagi like, huh?
Why, did something happen? She never seemed like the kind of person to do something so cruel.
But, so does that mean she's gone?
It was like they were really talking like they believed Miyagi existed.
Man, I can't believe she ditched a good guy like this. That Miyagi's a real good-for-nothing girl.
Indeed. To think, when he's such a good person.
I wouldn't forget that voice in a day or two. It would take at least 30 years, 300 years, 3,000 years for me to forget. I needed to be sure. I couldn't have possibly misheard, but until I saw it myself, I wouldn't believe it.
That Miyagi girl really is so good for nothing. I'm back, Mr. Kusunoki. I was looking for you.
Might you be Miss Miyagi?
Yes, I'm the good for nothing Miyagi.
Oh, whoa! What do you know? She really exists! And you're really pretty, Miss Miyagi. I'm jealous, man.
Why was Miyagi here?
So, Miss Miyagi really was Miss Miyagi.
Why could other people see Miyagi?
Yeah. Somehow, you're exactly the way I imagined you.
Hey, everybody.
You guys take care
Get
now.
on,
You guys
Take care
have
of Miss
fun.
Miyagi.
Don't fight your
Thank you.
Seems Miyagi really was my kind of girl. Be happy, you two.
Strange, isn't it? How could I be here? How were the others able to see me? It's rather simple. In short, I did the same thing you did.
The same thing? How much did you sell?
Also the same. I sold all of it. All but 3 days. Just after you sold your lifespan, the substitute observer contacted me. He told me you'd sold off even more of your life to pay off most of my debt. As soon as I heard that, I had made up my mind. He did the formalities. Quite impressive, Mr. Kusunoki, buying back the majority of my life with just 30 days. And I'm sorry. I threw away the life you worked so hard to get back. I'm such a fool, aren't I?
Fool? If anyone's a fool, it's me. I couldn't live without you for even 3 days, Miyagi. I wasn't sure what I was going to do.
Thanks to you, the value of my life went up a bit as well. So not only is the debt paid, there's plenty of money left. More than we could possibly go through in 3 days.
So, we're rich.
Yes, we are.
I'll die, leaving nothing behind. But I don't mind that. I don't need the eternity I once dreamed of now. I don't mind if no one remembers me, because she's here with me, smiling at my side. Just because of that, I can forgive everything else.
Well, Mr. Kusunoki, how do you plan to spend these 3 days?
I believe those 3 days, compared to the tragic 30 years I would have lived, compared to the worthwhile 30 days I would have lived, were of much, much more value.
Solus did so good. Wow. Oh my gosh. That was so good. What are the last 2 videos for? I think there's like an epilogue or something? Oh yeah, there's a 16.5. Okay. Oh my goodness. We should watch the credits though. And then we'll do spot your name in the credits. Where is it? It's me. That was so good. Oh man. There it is. Oh my gosh. I don't know what to say. It was like better than anything I could have ever hoped for. And was there some cringe at my own acting? A little bit, but I don't think that takes away from how amazing everybody else did. Oh my god. I don't even remember what the epilogue is either, so we have to watch that too. But we did it. Wow. It really is. He just made like a full movie. We're rich. Let's buy more life. I thought you were really good. Thank you, Pyro. It was 2 year ago me. But there were some like retakes I did a few months ago. That was so good. I'm happy to have stuck around even if I was just looking. Thank you, thank you. I'm glad you didn't use your normal voice, so that would have been strange. I mean, is it that different? I did try to be like lower, but yeah. I always think like when I'm trying to do different voices and I listen back to it, I'm like, oh, it sounds exactly the same. It doesn't sound different at all. Now write a 5-page essay on the significance of the number 3 in Japanese culture, how it correlates in the manga. Ah! I think some of my favorite parts are like the comedy sections of it though. Like, what are your hobbies? I like taking pictures of vending machines. Ah, look at that! They're so sweet. And actually, all of the chapter starters with the pictures, you could think of it as pictures of him he took of Miyagi, right? We have to watch the epilogue. I don't know what the epilogue is though. Hopefully not more people selling their lifespan. And I can't wait to read the comments later too. It definitely came off different to me. I was hearing it as the character and not you. Oh wow! I don't understand why they couldn't buy more life though. Yeah, well, I don't know. Well, isn't there a limit on the number of transactions you could do, they said? But I won't think too hard about it. Okay. Epilogue.
You know I've got over 100 books here, right?
They're in too poor shape. You got a problem with it, try elsewhere.
Let's have ice cream together.
Good plan.
Hey, you're strapped for cash, eh?
Stop recommending people sell their lifespan.
Well then, you want to sell your lifespan?
I think he's the owner of the shop.
Lifespan?
Yeah, lifespan. Even just a year or two could fetch a decent price.
The hell are you talking about? Are you asking me to try some kind of clinical trial? Because if you are, I'd be happy to oblige right now.
No, I'm asking you a question. Do you want to sell your lifespan?
I don't get you. Sell my lifespan? What's that even mean? Explain it in a way I can understand.
It may not be easy to believe, but there's a facility nearby which can evaluate lifespan and buys it in years. If the remainder of your life proves to be of value, then just a few years of it would let you live out the rest comfortably. How about that? Dream come true, right?
Yeah, sounds like a dream,
No,
all
wait.
right.
This guy has a daughter.
But unfortunately, my life's pretty much worthless. Just like most of these books I brought, it'd just go for the lowest price.
The lowest price, eh? Say, out of curiosity,
So the kid's
what do you
like-
think the minimum value is for 1 year of lifespan? Take a guess. If your answer's close enough, I'll buy all these books for 100 yen each.
Okay,
He is
sure.
the shopkeeper.
But
I'm
I don't know how I'm
convinced now.
supposed to know.
I'll give you a hint. The evaluation's based on happiness, achievement, and contribution. In other words, how happy you'll become, how many goals you'll achieve, and how you'll contribute to others' happiness. Those decide the value.
Aha, that's simple then.
Yeah. So, how much?
Not worthy of a price. 0.
How'd you figure it was 0?
Well, how should I say this? Right, basically. Let's try rephrasing your question. If you can't make yourself happy, can't make others happy, can't realize a single dream. Simply put, if you're someone like me, how would that life be priced? Comes to the same thing, right?
Go on.
I thought back through these 32 years of life,
I can't
and
believe
I've
he's
never
saying
felt
this
any happiness that
in front of
felt
his
like
daughter.
happiness. Had a bunch of dreams, but never achieved a single one. And forget ever making other people happy.
What about-
I actively stole their happiness away.
Stole?
Yeah. I've had to give it up now for a couple reasons. But till recently, I was sort of a con man. By the most optimistic measure, I'd say I've ruined at least 20 people's lives. That said, I had to do it just to survive. Don't regret it at all. But if I was buying, and it was a guy like me's lifespan, I wouldn't want to offer a single yen for it.
I see. Well, I'll ask you again now. Do you want to sell your lifespan?
Gramps, were you even listening to a word I said? Who out there would sell something for nothing?
As far as I can see, I think your lifespan would sell pretty well. Just selling 5 years or so, I'm sure you could live comfortably on that money.
Oh yeah? On what basis are you so sure?
Certainly, if we're talking about the past, you might be human garbage, not worth a single yen. In the eyes of most people, they might think you're not only worthless, but that it'd be better if you'd never even existed. Thing is, your lifespan's value is your remaining life's value. So the past's got no bearing on that. It's the future what decides it.
Okay, I get how the past doesn't affect the value of lifespan. But still, Gramps, do you see me as having a bright future ahead?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all the more reason not to sell. No logic in letting all those years go if they're worth that much.
Right answer.
Okay, got some unexpected temporary income. Ask now, and I'll buy you anything. Anything you want.
Ice cream.
Besides ice cream.
Oh.
I want Mom.
No. I'll keep looking into it with an open mind. But I'd appreciate something purchasable right now. And within 10,000 yen.
I was just kidding. There's not really much I want. You haven't smoked in a while, right, mister? Want cigarettes?
No, I'm good. I'm thinking I'll try to quit while I'm at it.
Don't push yourself too hard, okay?
You neither.
Oh, damn! That was right in the first panel. He just...
Hey, mister. I think your lifespan would sell for a lot, too.
Why do you think that?
I mean, if you asked me to choose between 3 billion yen or getting to stay with you, I think I'd pick you.
You're good at lifting my spirits, Suzuki.
You're bad at hiding when you're embarrassed,
who is
mister.
this kid? What the heck? I was like, that's pretty
With that
brutal saying
smile,
you're not
I
making
felt
people
just
happy.
a little bit more willing to believe that old man's words.
He's just a con man kidnapper. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. Oh man, that was so good. Okay, wow. Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming to watch 3 Days of Happiness. I really enjoyed every second of it. And please, please, please go support Solus. He worked so hard on this whole project for over like a year and a half now. So I'm really happy with how it came together. I think it was really special and really cool. Oh, hi. Hi. Should I just say Baka? But yeah, oh my gosh. I guess I will see you guys when we hit 2K, and then we'll have our own celebration for something else. Oh man. Very exciting. Thank you so much for coming. Yeah, I don't know, drink water. Don't sell your lifespan. Your life is worth... Oh, what is the moral of the stream? Who is that kid? Is that his kid or not? Moral of the stream, can't you just buy back more life with the life you sold? I don't know. What's a good moral? Moral of the stream. We love the ad breaks. What is the ad blocker that you told me to get? I don't even know. I'm just gonna write, we love the ad breaks. I don't even have the sprout emoji on me right now. Sell life, find wife. I like that a lot. We'll do that. Sell life, find wife. The lifespan stock market, can you imagine? Thank you so much for coming, everyone. Sleep tight, little sprouts.